How the hell are you? Happy Thursday night, everybody. Wherever the hell you may be in the world, we have an absolute doozy of a broadcast on deck for you tonight. We are broadcasting to you live from the beautiful and picturesque southern shores of New York City, the one and only town without pity. Stapleton, Staten Island, stand up and represent. We have got a fantastic broadcast in store for you tonight. So, as always, hold on to your brewskis because this one's going to be a doozy. Welcome back to the broadcast. This is Nobody Cares Sports Show powered by our good friends at Mansion Media. As always, no religion, no politics on the broadcast. If you're looking for that, you clearly just come to the wrong place. If you are watching this show, though, just a heads up, you probably should be wearing a helmet. And if you have that on right now, make sure that's nice and tight. Go find yourself a head doctor. Chances are more than not, you're definitely going to need one. Fantastic show in store tonight. And I'll tell you what, with many sports enthusiasts not feeling like the sports season this year is turning out to what it should be. They have absolutely every reason to say so. One can argue who could blame them. Minor league ball players typically called up for the September 90-man roster have lost that opportunity. And a World Series this fall, no matter what the outcome, just doesn't feel as though it will be the same. Which brings me to my next point, of course, and that is the Yankees and Mets aren't giving their fans much to cheer about in this 2020 season from hell, and that's to be expected. The Yankees' injury-prone players are being exposed in a shortened season, and the New York Mets look like they're being managed by a Little League coach. Now, wait a second. As a matter of fact, they are. So in the words of Randy Quaid, turn this place into a parking lot. And that could be both Yankee Stadium and Shea for various reasons. But no, it's not even Shea anymore. It's called Citi Field. Wouldn't you know? Wouldn't you know? To everybody out there from Washington State all the way to St. Louis, Hawaii, California, Michigan, Mizzou, Florida, up and down the East Coast, Virginia. We've got a doozy broadcast on deck for you tonight. Get your heads checked, everybody. I can't stress that enough. It has been a tough 2020 so far for everybody. If you could totally, it seems people are just, every time you turn on the news, there's something awful out there. That's why we don't turn on the news at all here at Nobody Cares Sports. And we got pizza in here. We got bottles of Jameson out here. Just trying to get through 2020 as best as humanly possible because the baseball world lost one of the greatest people to ever touch a diamond this week. Tom Seaver was known as many things. Some called him the franchise. Others called him Tom Terrific, a true gentleman and warrior-esque competitor. Seaver was drafted by the Mets as a top pick and single-handedly turned the new franchise around, delivering the first World Series title in 1969 to the New York Metropolitans. He was a 12-time All-Star and a legend even among baseball's immortals, a 300-game winner. He still holds the record for most consecutive batters struck out at 10 in a row. In typical Mets fashion, however, following a contract dispute, he was traded to the Cincinnati Reds in a trade that became known to Mets fans as the Midnight Massacre. After leaving for the Reds, the Mets organization went into a downward spiral that would mar them for at least a decade. Meanwhile, Seaver continued to dominate, tossing a no-hitter for the Reds and continued to win a total of 3 Cy Young awards. He was feared by opposing batters, loved by all. I speak for all baseball fans when I say, damn you 2020, Tom Seaver, may you rest in peace. And because we don't know how to transition into new topics here, in other news, football uncertainties rule in the hearts of fans and athletes alike across the country. The NFL season is slated to start next week, right on time. With local New York teams like the Giants and Jets practicing isolated in a bubble with no preseason games to test their merit, that should be fun to watch. But I'll tell you what, the first time either of these hometown teams will face a new foe will be in week 1. So prepare for there to be more penalties and offsides called in the first quarter. I'll just go fuck myself. Than ever in the history of football. The Chinese bookie will get into that a little bit later. As you know, in Vegas, you can bet on absolutely anything. So some things to look at as the NFL rolls around. How many penalties will there be in the first quarter, a.k.a. how many mistakes? I bet you it's going to be a boatload. We'll also talk about a little statistics over under how many wins the Giants and Jets will have this year. Whatever the Chinese bookie says, it's important that you just bet completely against him. Also, in other news here on the local gridiron, we talk high school sports. The football season is not on time. In fact, for the first time in forever, the high school football train is late. Many high school football athletes are devastated by the lack of opportunities to showcase their talent on the gridiron this season. Blue chip stars seemingly destined to play at the next level are taking their talents off the island to play at prep schools in New Jersey, and who can blame them? Island standouts such as Curtis's wide receiver Sam Martin Jr. and Tottenville's defensive end Eric O'Neill have seemingly left for greener pastures. But not all students are so lucky. Only the best of the best can transfer to a powerhouse school across the western border, leaving most student athletes here on Staten Island and across New York City in a waiting game. As of now, we can only cross our fingers and hope for football after Thanksgiving, likely in the spring. It seems, unfortunately, you all already know the answer. Nobody cares. It's fine. We'll get it back eventually, or so we think. People. That is what people are saying. First of all, the kids haven't even started playing practice yet, done anything. So we'll see how that plays out. But if you are looking for action this weekend, well, then look no further. Sports fans looking for action, you're in luck. For the first time in the history of Earth, the Kentucky Derby will be running in the month of September. That's right, this Saturday, September 5th, 2020. It's the annual running of the Kentucky Derby featuring a hometown horse from New York. Tiz the Law will look to become the second New York-bred horse to win the Derby since Funnyside in 2003. Both of those horses came out of the same stable in Saratoga, New York. That stable is Sakatoga, and part owner Bruce Cerrone has joined us on the broadcast in the past. Likes their chances this week at Churchill Downs. He stressed to me many, many times, keep that goddamn Chinese bookie as far away from my horse as humanly possible. To which we said, no problem, Bruce. Don't worry about it. We won't even have him on the air when you're on the air. How's that sound? So right now, all is looking good for Tiz the Law to put on a show this weekend. He is the favorite at the Derby. However, we mentioned Funnyside winning in 2003 out of the same stable. Funnyside actually went over to see Tiz the Law today. I don't know how horses talk, but apparently cheered him on a little bit. And a little funny coincidence here. 17 years ago, Funnyside won the Kentucky Derby. And this year, Tiz the Law will be running out of gate number 17. You could say it's coincidence, or you could say it's destiny. We're going to call it destiny, and in the meantime, we're going to keep that bookie in the trunk of somebody's car. Probably, Mike, you got a Cadillac, something big, or is it small? We'll work it out. You hear that, bookie? You're going to be able to breathe. On tonight's broadcast, boy, do we have a good one in store for you, so don't go anywhere. It's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a full studio, pizza. We finally ordered pizza. Commodore, you don't have to starve tonight. Are you excited about that?
Hooray!
Hooray! Commodore's super pumped about that. All good. We're cutting people off here. We have to. It's 8:41 and no more for them. On tonight's broadcast, local sports broadcaster and Farrell High School alum Joe Nugent joins the broadcast to talk about his new book, My Sports Island, a new project focusing on the best of the best athletes from Staten Island history. Also joining us in the broadcast booth, NHL insider Mike DiConzo graces us with his presence for an in-depth look of the Stanley Cup playoffs and what the future holds for the New York Rangers and what's in store for Blue Shirt fans. He would give you a report on the New York Islanders, but he's so biased, it's disgusting. He doesn't like the Islanders, but we'll just tell you, to anybody that likes hockey south of the Canadian border, the Islanders are currently beating the much-hated Philadelphia Flyers 4-3 right now. Personally, the entire city of Philly could fall into a sinkhole and nobody would miss a beat. We'll see if this game stays the same. Also, Jen Halley and Daniela Cintron of Body Evolution Fitness joined the show to talk about a boot camp they're organizing September 20th. They're raising money for childhood cancer. All money raised will be going to Memorial Sloan Kettering for pediatric cancer research, and they're going to tell us a bit more about that event. Chinese bookie escapes from a trunk to talk to us about the Derby, the return of football, and how you could bet against him to win big, a.k.a. bet your children's tuition, and you'll win if you bet against them. Plus, NBA insider famous Amos Wilson, a.k.a. Eli, a.k.a. nobody cares what his name is, breaks down the basketball playoffs. The Commodores in the house fired up, and we're frightened to see what he has in store for us from his Commodores quarters tonight. I'm your host, Danny Chanod. I'm sweating like I'm on ecstasy. This show is powered by Imagine Media, and this is Nobody Cares, no religion, no politics.